Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, I appreciate it. We're going to be talking about Raw, SmackDown, New Japan, AEW, but not NXT. I did not have time to watch NXT, so later on this week, I'm probably going to put up a podcast talking about Dynamite and then talking about NXT, but we're here to talk about what we're gonna talk about. That's right, SmackDown. The Rock comes out. Memphis, they booed him, so he went heel, and now they cheer him. So, that's kind of how it worked out in 1998. That's how it's working out in 2024. But they knew the formula this time. They knew, okay, they're booing him, switch over here, and now they're cheering him. He was a face in front of this Memphis crowd. I don't care what they say. It's been a hell of like a 30-day period for how people are perceiving the great one, The Rock. It's been electrifying, as they say. It goes into his developmental days in Memphis. And starts doing a full-blown concert there, complete with a guitar player and harmonica from Memphis, shitting on Cody the whole time. Then he showed the clip of Cody slapping The Rock. He was, going to respond. How did he respond? By crying on Raw. He got a little choked up talking about his mom, and the mom, he should not have ever brought up the mom. The Rock talks about, Mama Rhodes, and The Rock slowly says he is going to give Mama Rhodes something, which is a belt, this new Brahma Bull weight belt. Crowd starts chanting, "Whoop that Trick," maybe because of the movie Hustle and Flow filmed in Memphis, maybe because Trick Williams is on the cusp of superstardom. I don't know, time will tell. That's not all we saw of the bloodline on SmackDown. Jimmy responds to Jay. He aggressively accepts the challenge. And then on Raw, they had a face-to-face. Jay says he misses his brother. That kind of hit home a little bit. That tugged on my heartstrings a little bit. But they are still going to fight at WrestleMania. And Jimmy says that the biggest moment in Jay's career was because of Jimmy. And that kind of started this, back and forth, more aggressive. The brothers went from heartfelt to hard hitting here. And he says the biggest moment is going to be when he knocks the yeet out of his ass. So I don't know how much yeet is in Jimmy's ass, but it's going to be knocked out at WrestleMania, and the wrestling world will watch on. Solo hits Jay out of nowhere. Cody comes out to the aid of Jay. But that's not all we saw of Cody on Raw. He responds to The Rock responding to him. He says that you're not a heel, you're an asshole. Calls him a bitch. I mean, these are literally words that he's just dropping on us on Monday Night Raw in Raleigh, North Carolina. He says when the bell rings, he is going to have little dick syndrome. Talking about The Rock. Then says he's Roman's sidekick. And this was rough. Cody is... he's bringing his A game, and he's got to bring his A game with The Rock and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns on the other side. He's got Seth Rollins on his side, but Seth Rollins is kind of doing his own thing. So Cody really does have to bring it. He's got with Heyman and Rock on one side, he's got two of the top 10 best talkers ever going up against him. So he's going to have to at least bring it to top 5 on the mic level of this generation to even stand side by side, and he's doing that. To his credit, he's doing that. Heyman out there tells Cody that to come to SmackDown and Roman will be there alone if Cody comes alone, and Cody accepts that deal on Monday Night Raw. But back on to SmackDown, we had LWO versus Legado del Fantasma. LWO in 2 tag tournaments at the same damn time, the NXT tag tournament and this kind of tag tournament to get into the ladder match at WrestleMania. They advanced on NXT. They did not advance to the granddaddy of them all. Legado del Fantasma got the victory here, but that's not all we saw of Legado del Fantasma. Dragon Lee versus Escobar. Phantom Driver 1, 2, 3. Santos wins. Carlito comes out and makes sure they don't pick the bones, do any more damage to Dragon Lee, but it's a numbers game at that point, and then Rey Mysterio's music hits, and he, the legend, the Hall of Famer, keeps them at bay. We did get a few more qualifying matches. New Catch Republic versus Pretty Deadly. New Catch advances. On Raw, DIY New Day and the Awesome Truth advance. Judgment Day not even worried about that. They're worried about, Dominic going up against Ricochet on Raw. And they had a little bit of a heated exchange with Andrade as well. So they're kind of looking past all these qualifying matches in this big ladder match at WrestleMania. I think they're going to drop the titles at WrestleMania. On SmackDown, Styles attacked Knight after Knight attacked Styles after AJ attacked Knight. And we're going to have a match here. These guys are both talkers. These guys are both veterans. I think no one's really worried about this match. So I think they're kind of getting a lackluster build compared to everybody else. But we'll see where it goes. Waller versus Orton. Logan Paul on commentary. Theory gets involved. He whoops both their asses. He being Orton. After Orton gets the win, Theory and Logan get the upper hand. Kevin Owens comes out to the aid of the Viper. Kevin Owens hits a stunner, flying Theory into the air to get caught with an RKO. Holy shit. Is this man okay? Logan Paul couldn't believe what just happened. Bayley gets attacked by the rest of Damage Control while facing Dakota Kai. Naomi comes to her aid, but it's still a numbers game. When those jerks get a taste of their own medicine here at WrestleMania, we'll have to see. Kind of cleaning up everything that happened on Raw. Seth out there talking to Drew. Tension is building in this build, of course, but nothing really of note was said. Candice LeRae continuing her shitty ways. Hurt Chance and Carter. And even Indy didn't like how they got the victory here. Zayn has Gable's blessing going into WrestleMania. Out there, the contract signing with Gunther. He's making me a believer. That's all I'm saying. But there was a last woman standing match on Raw as well. Becky versus Nia Jax. Chair, steps, all coming into play. Manhandle slam through a table. Huge leg drop through a table. Becky's the last woman standing. Or is she? She got attacked by Rhea Ripley after the match. And that was it from the WWE main roster this week. Going over to AEW, we had Rampage. Not so skippable. Mariah May and Toni Storm tell the crowd to be seated after they come out. I thought that was kind of funny. Before Toni goes and attacks Little Mean Kathleen. She has been at it since 2019, and she's wrestled all over ever since, 4 or 5 year veteran here. Kyla Sparks, her tag team partner, she's a 20-year veteran and had been on Raw in 2022. So, this is, not just your average jabronis here getting their ass beat here. Storm 0, 1, 2, 3. Toni and Mariah get the victory. Deonna Purrazzo makes her way out and reveals her partner for their tag match is going to be Thunder Rosa. But this wasn't the only noteworthy Rampage match. We had Takeshita and Commander. This match was high praise. Everyone in the arena was, calling in podcasts, going on Twitter saying this was the match to watch, and it was the match to watch. Commander, Little Man, Big Heart, Tightrope Moonsault to the floor, Springboard Hurricane Rana, 1, 2, no. Springboard Destroyer, Rope Walk, Shooting Star, but Takeshita gets the boot up, hits the powerbomb, huge knee, Falcon Arrow, 1, 2, 3. Takeshita gets the win. Solid match. It's the clip of it's on YouTube. Go out and watch it. But then there was Collision. Collision slowly, I think, taking the top spot of best wrestling show in AEW, at least this week, and if not, several weeks now. The main part was Adam Copeland out there. Shows a 2x4 with nails in it sticking out of it. He goes and beats Christian. He's going to beat Christian on Dynamite tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But my main takeaway, the best thing I liked about Collision was Danielson versus Shibata. It was made for a fan like me to like, and I did like it. Shibata is just unapologetically snug. He also does not see well, which I think is interesting. Stan Hansen Also didn't see well, also famous in Japan, and also works very snug. I think there's a correlation there. They're like, well, I can't really afford to lightly hit you because I don't really know what I'm hitting, so I gotta fucking swing for the fences here and make sure it looks real, maybe because it might be a little real, so the crowd loves me. And I feel like Shibata and Hansen are both loved by the same kind of audience. So I don't know, there might be a correlation with not being able to see shit and being a good wrestler for some reason. I don't know. I mean, maybe this theory falls out of place. I know Fast Eddie, remember him? Was that him? Yeah, Fast Eddie for Ring of Honor like 20 some years ago. He was like legally blind. But let's get back to it here. These guys trading ankle locks, neither man giving an inch until they are both down on the mat. Death Valley driver from Shibata, elbows from both men. Psycho knee, 1-2. Shibata kicks out, then Danielson just fires off kicks, met with a scissor kick from Shibata. Then the spot that has all the wrestling world talking, they both sit Indian style and fire off bitch slaps that wake each other up. Both men hulking up at the same time, firing bitch slaps simultaneously. Danielson lands a knee again, goes for the Psycho knee, gets caught in the octopus. 1-2 counter, 1-2-3. Danielson gets the victory. So good, so good. Speaking of so good, Trish Adora was on the show. I think she needs to get pushed a little more. Going up against Julia Hart, dropping Julia on her knee with this like scoop slam style maneuver. I thought that was cool. Julia hits a moonsault and pins her. 1-2-3. Another great match on Collision. Garcia versus Moriarty. We're just being spoon fed. I feel like AEW is for like a hardcore fan base and you can watch it on a big scale. And Collision is like hardcore for the hardcore fan base here a little bit, even though like the crowds are depleting. It might not be a big scale here soon, but enjoy it while it lasts. Garcia versus Moriarty, two men who were making waves in the indies about 2.5 years ago, got signed around the same time. Garcia pants have gone from silly to just straight up ridiculous. Garcia taps out Moriarty. Pac is back, more spoon feeding. I'm into it like a fucking, like Collision is my favorite flavor of Ben & Jerry's. I'm just being spoon-fed as I'm just indulging on my fucking couch. It's his Collision debut, taking on Aaron Solo, Red Arrow. Then he chokes his bitch ass out. Claudio versus Lance Archer. Talk about big meat slapping meat. These guys passed the fucking airport test here. And they've been, I think this might be the first meeting of these guys, these two journeymen. I'll call them journeymen. Just as the match was getting good, the Righteous come out and attack Claudio. Lance should just full-blown be in the Righteous, I think, at this point. Danielson comes out, but it's a numbers game. Shibata with an equalizer. He runs out with a chair, and of course, the Righteous, they hightail it. They know this guy's blind ass with a chair might end their career, so they run to the back. Kyle O'Reilly returns to AEW, going up against Brian Keith, tying Keith in knots here. Brainbuster, armbar. Kyle taps him out. Members of the Undisputed Kingdom come out and celebrate, very theatrically celebrate with Kyle O'Reilly after the match. The tag tournament starts. We have the Infiltrate versus House of Black. Gonzo bomb 1-2. It gets broken up here. The pile driver, they pile drived one of the members of the Infiltrate through a table. Buddy in the ring, 1-2, then pulls up his head. They're getting a little cocky here. What's going to happen? Mark Briscoe's going to happen. He attacks Buddy Murphy. Brody chases him away. So you got a wounded man and you have a man far away from the ring. What happens here? The captain, Sean Dean, puts his arm on top of Buddy Murphy, laying flat on his back. 1-2-3. The Infiltrate get the biggest win of their fucking career, going up against the guys they were jaw-jacking with 2 weeks ago in FTR. Next week, sign me up. This match is going to be great. Sean Dean, I think, had his first match on Dynamite in front of my very eyes in 2021, getting his ass beat by Wardlow. So now, 3 years later, we're seeing him, and sign me up, man. I think Sean Dean, a guy who got his job being a driver, would pick guys up from the airport, take them to the arena, because he knew that if you gave him a little light in that doorway, he was going to bust the door down, and now it's coming to fruition. He's kind of a leader of a faction here, wrestling on Collision. I'm marking out over Sean Dean. I'm having a good time. I love fucking pro wrestling, and a big part of why I love pro wrestling is New Japan Pro Wrestling. They had the New Japan Cup. A big reason why I was unable to watch NXT was because I wanted to make room to watch Tsuji versus Goto in the finals of the New Japan Cup. People that watch New Japan for a long time know that Goto can't win the fucking big one. He's tried, he's failed. He can't win the big one to save his fucking life. And I would say the New Japan Cup is the big one. He's got his white tights on, but I'm not fooled by the white tights, because I remember a few years ago he painted his whole body, had the Japanese lettering like Hakushi in the fucking WWE, or WWF rather, and he still lost. He didn't win the IWGP title that day. And I know I'm just going to say I'm not fooled anymore. But knowing the ending didn't make me less excited, because I believe in New Japan. I hate seeing the talent raids that seem to happen every 2 years or so. I want to see strong style rise to the top, and I think that they can do it by making new stars, and I think the star that will shine the brightest is Tsuji. He looks like Roman Reigns. He looks like his twin brother, who's already a famous actor in Japan. Goto did have the up-and-comer in the ropes, so even bringing him down with some headbutts, hitting the move that Hammerstone does, 1, 2, no. Crowd couldn't believe it, even though we all knew the crowd didn't know. The crowd, I think, all knew Goto wasn't going to win, but there was a moment in the match they all believed, is what I'm trying to get at. He hits a huge lariat, turning Tsuji inside out. Goto starts to believe. He goes for the Rainmaker. Okada is gone, but Chaos members have not forgotten him, but that was his downfall. Spear by Tsuji to counter the Rainmaker. Another spear. 1, 2, 3. Tsuji is the New Japan Cup champion, and his title shot is going to be against the leader of his faction, Los Ingobernables de Japon's own Naito, who is on commentary. And last year, Tsuji had a world title match against Sonata, and the crowd wanted Tsuji. They just did. I would have called an audible if I heard that crowd and I was the booker. I was Gato, but I'm not Gato. I don't have the book. I don't even know how to tell these people to call an audible. I don't speak Japanese. But that crowd was hot. That crowd wanted Tsuji. And now Naito, a guy notorious for putting over, guys like Sonata, guys like Evil, guys trying to get the next generation going, has the world championship. You need to get the next generation here. I mean, I want to see Naito versus Tsuji, and I want to see Tsuji raise that world championship up just into the summer. Just into the summer. You can put the title back. It can be a quick world title exchange, or you can have him go all the way to Wrestle Kingdom, and you have Sonata, the guy that Tsuji couldn't beat last year for the IWGP championship, going up against the current IWGP champion. You could do all kinds of things. The mind starts tingling. The imagination gets going here, thinking about everything that could possibly be happened. But we know what did happen, and that Tsuji won the New Japan Cup. I hope you guys like wrestling as much as I do. I love that you listen to it. Please share with a friend. Fly high. I'm out.